welcome to your award-winning The Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke every single week through news and headlines ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I am Daniel, and through Sector 454, we go back to the beginning of this co-host rotation, and this week, I'm fortunate with every co-host every week, but at the start of this rotation, we have Julian returning from Lazy Gaming Guys. Welcome back, Julian.
Hello, everybody. It is I, Julian, from the Lazy Gaming Guys. Welcome to the Reasons We're Lazy podcast.
As you mentioned in your stream, little by little, you're just going to assimilate the podcast, and it's going to be every episode that you're on are just going to spike in downloads continuously until it eventually just becomes a part of LGG.
Yes. I'm a horrible mastermind like that. I do my best.
How's it feel being in the solo co-host chair? Last time you shared it with Scott, but now I get 100% Julian.
Are you prepared for 100% unfiltered Julian? No Scott, no Jacques, no nobody. It's just me and my opinions.
Now, I don't think I'm ready, but no one is. No one is ever ready for Julian. That's what makes you special.
No, but no one is. Not even my roommate. He asked me a question and he gets a 3-hour contemplation about something stupid.
Awesome. So to anyone new to the podcast, we go through all of the news that came out throughout the week. And this week, we are going to end it with the Mortal Kombat spoiler review. We're going to leave that for the very end of today's episode. That way, if you have not seen the movie yet, you can still enjoy the news for this week. So let's jump right in. Funko has announced a new line of Avatar: The Last Airbender Funko Pops. 5 pops are going to be open order to retailers. 6 are going to be exclusive to Target, Amazon, Hot Topic, Books A Million, Funko Hollywood, and Funko Shop. We have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender Funkos in the past, but these open order ones, which are the ones that I'm able to order at my comic shop, they are Aang in all elemental form. It is a 6-inch pop, $19.99. You got the standard size ones, which retail for $10.99, and those include Suki, Ty Lee, Fire Lord Ozai, and Admiral Zhao. Julian, what'd you think of this lineup of Funko?
Well, the Elemental Aang one looks pretty cool.
Oh, it's so cool.
I am a big fan. I am a Suki fanboy. I love Suki. I think she's one of the best girls in the show that's not Katara, because it's like you can't beat Katara or Azula, but it's like, hey, it's like for a girl without bending powers, I think she's the neatest. Zhao, it's like, yeah, you take it or leave it. It's Zhao. It's like he's an asshole. Fire Lord Ozai, he has a little fire thing going on around him, which is pretty neat. And Ty Lee, it's like she's doing a little kung fu pose thing, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Ty Lee. I think she was just there to be the different from moody or angry girl in that little Azula group. And then when the stuff that happened in the show wasn't really surprising. What happened when she turned her back on him or whatever. But
Admiral Zhao, yeah, that's the one, as you mentioned. It's kind of the lamest one, but Admiral Zhao was the one that I'm like, I guess I'll order 2 for the completionist. The other ones I went ahead and ordered up on, though.
Yeah, it's just him. Okay, because I'm assuming it's him holding the bag with the moonfish in it. Because it's not.
I think so.
Anything.
Yeah.
It's not anything else. It's like he doesn't even have like fire in one hand or something, or like it's just him just standing there with with one arm behind his back, or like it's not even like the outfit. It's not even like him. Like I would have even taken him like without. Like shirtless with the fire in his hands, like when he was dueling Zuko. Something more interesting. I'm not saying that just because I'm not saying that I want to see him shirtless. It's just it's something. It's an example of something him actually doing something rather than him just holding a bag. Because outside of the context, it's the people who are outside of the fan base. Who knows what the hell this bag's for? It's like, what is that bag? Why is he holding a bag?
This line would have sold better if they replaced Admiral Zhao with another Uncle Iroh, but like a sad Uncle Iroh, singing Brave Soldier Boy, like little tears on him. And that would have been a good version.
That
under the tree.
That would have been a good one. Or at least like, I don't know, maybe Zhao when he was wandering the desert and found the freaking the library or something, that tower library or something. Anything other than just him holding this bag.
Did you look up any of the exclusives that were out there? The couple that I saw were mainly like recolored and maybe one with a different molding.
I haven't seen any of the recoloring ones. I first looked at the pops, and then I went down a rabbit hole of just pop of Avatar pops of looking at some of the older ones. Like I like the one with Aang airbending.
Mhm.
The Appa Funko speaks to me.
Yeah, that's the one I have, the one Avatar pop.
I keep seeing this one of the Cabbage Man. I don't know if that's real. Is it real?
I think it is. I'm not too
Because
sure. I
that's
don't remember
hilarious.
carrying it though.
Because oh my god, the Cabbage Merchant one is real. I think it is real. Holy crap! Because if it is, that's amazing. That's the best. I need that Funko Pop in my life.
I
I
love
don't.
the Cabbage Man only because every time there's a Bulbasaur meme, they have the Cabbage Man on. They're like, "Look at this spray, this amazing Cabbage Boy," and then they'll have him holding a Bulbasaur, and I'm like, "All right, that guy's okay. He's a Bulbasaur fan."
Oh, Bulbasaur is a cabbage.
That's right, Cabbage
Yeah,
Frog.
that Cabbage Frog. Still not, a nice blue turtle, but it's a nice Cabbage Frog.
I hope that by the time these release, that people will still care about Avatar: The Last Airbender to the point that they do right now. Because when that show hit Netflix again, about half a year ago at this point, I sold out of anything Avatar: The Last Airbender that I previously could not move for the life of me, which were the Dark Horse comics. And people were then asking for the pops, the merchandise. Kids were discovering the show for the first time, and parents were showing this show, introducing it to a whole new generation of kids. And that's when it just blew up again. These are set to release, I believe, in a few months. I am going to order up on the All Elements Aang because I think it is a beautiful display. Even though it is a higher price point, I think it is the coolest one so far. And I hope that I'm able to, consistently sell through these. And I think we will, especially since last time you were on, there's more Avatar coming, both on Netflix and in the original creators side with, I believe it was another show that we had discussed.
I can't remember because the people who made Avatar are like on are like different, or people who help make Avatar split off into their own different things. Some of them are working on the new Avatar show. The new Avatar show is supposed to be coming out. Some of them are working on the Dragon Prince on Netflix, which I haven't looked up anything about recently. And it's just that they're both I expect the Avatar show to be amazing, and Dragon Prince is just really good. It's like I like renewed my Netflix subscription 1 month because Jacques was coming over, and we were like, okay, we gotta watch freaking Dragon Prince and catch up and make and see where the show is going and everything. So it's like there's rarely anything from the actual creators and writers of this show that actually do anything bad, because anything that had like the movie had nothing to do with any of them, and then that Netflix live action show, which I still don't know if it's going to happen or not, because it's just been negative press about it all the time.
Mm-hmm. Definitely
But
seems
I'm
like the fan
excited to
base
see what
is
these people are
against
going to
it.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the whole fan, like that's like Avatar fan base is never like usually split except for the whole who the heck Katara should get with. Besides that, they're not really split on things. It's like she should be with Zuko, and then I just say I'm staying out of it. I got my couple.
What was your couple?
Of course, it was Suki and Sokka.
Okay. Yeah, Kelly is a huge Zatara fan. I think that's what they're called. And she was really upset about it because I believe she's explained to me that they were meant to be originally a couple, but then when Nickelodeon, I guess they mandated that Aang end up with Katara because more kids watched the show, so they wanted to relate that relationship with with kids as opposed to with Zuko and Katara.
If I could interject for the Zutara fans, I feel that Aang getting with Katara, well, it's just like I feel like technically the Avatar should be. It's like all the some of the past avatars would have who had problems with like because they had other loved ones that would like get hurt or something, and it's like of course that being Aang's close knit friends they'd still get in trouble, but like the whole thing is like her relationship towards Aang for the longest time was more like this motherly type deal, and then it
Right.
goes into an actual relationship thing, and like in the third season it became more. It started last season of Avatar started becoming more of a thing where it was less, I guess, after like the whole him almost dying and her having to sit there and heal his unconscious body for so long.
Mhm.
and all this stuff. I guess, Nightingale effect kicked in, and then she started actually liking him, or something like that. But with the whole Zuko thing, I still am not 100% sure that technically that her and Zuko could have been together. It's like Katara seemed like a person who really didn't need a relationship. It's like just her getting one was just one of those poor written female character moments where it's like we have to give her someone to fall in love with. Like, no, you don't. Not
Right.
all female characters have to have someone to fall in love with. Like in Korra, we found out that Katara and Aang got together after like years. After a couple of years, I would have believed that more instead of them
Gotcha.
just kissing right then and there at the end of the show, and then living somewhat happily ever after.
I'll have to bring that up to Kelly when at some point tonight, just to just to
I'm
hear
gonna.
her kind of go off on it. And I won't
She's gonna
say,
get mad.
oh yeah,
She's gonna
well,
get
she
mad.
probably will. She probably will. Absolutely.
I'm on the hit list now. I'm on the Emperor's hit. I'm going to be on the Emperor's hit list because I have an opinion.
Most likely you will be. Something that is on the hit list on Sonic Treasure Hunting Sonic, who is on our Discord. Some of you have heard him on the show before. I think he's been on once or twice. Is the set of Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails stand-in props that are being used for the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 film. And after, if you haven't seen the first film or haven't seen anything about it, it is a live action / CGI type of mix up, kind of like Smurfs and all of these, Tom and Jerry recently, all of these kind of kids cartoons that get adapted into live action, but without making it all live action in a way. So that's what they did with Sonic, but they confirmed more or less Knuckles' design and his appearance in this second film. It was a little weird to see, but those are really cool props that I told Justin. I'm like, look, if you're a true Sonic collector, you got to get your hands on those. And he's like, you ready to go to Canada? And I'm like, all right, I'm ready. Let's go. But you got to let me borrow Knuckles every now and again.
Oh no, the standee. Oh, those are going to be the most expensive standees ever existed.
They really are. If anyone's going to own them, it's going to be Justin, though.
Oh yeah, it's like put it. It's like they say somebody told them you have to get into an octagon for these. He's gonna be in there, freaking, bandaged up, hands, feet bandaged, ready to fight, beat someone to a bloody pulp for those things. Because I've seen how much he's put into this, and it's like if there's anything standing in his way, I don't think the only thing that could really stand in his way is them not selling them. Period.
That's right. That's right. And even then, he'll find a way. He always, when he contacts some of these collectors or some of these artists that have these original pieces, most of the time they don't intend on selling it. But then when they get contacted, they're like, oh, I guess I could. And then he'll offer something and they'll end up selling it off or trading it if he's with another collector. But these things, they're going to be a treasure piece somewhere if the studio doesn't hang on to them or if it goes to one of the production people. I think down the road, I can see this in like 20 years being something that he tries to track down. But what were your thoughts on them including Knuckles in this new movie? And did you get a chance to see the first one?
Oh, I saw the first one 3 days after it came out. It was the last movie I saw in theaters. I did enjoy it. I saw it with my brother Steven. I told him we have to go see this movie. He's like, "What do you mean we have to go see this movie?" I'm like, "I'm going to go see this movie because I have to see the effort they put into this movie after the backlash the first time. I wasn't at first. I was just not even interested at all. But then after everything that went down and hearing and seeing people all over the internet, pros, cons, people like me who are just indifferent. It's like even those, like I said, I have to go see this movie. So I saw it. I enjoyed it. It's like I haven't seen any merchandise of it that I said I was gonna get one piece of merchandise, but I haven't seen any merchandise of it that isn't normal Sonic stuff because like I don't know if this movie had merchandise at one point.
Well, that was the problem with it because they changed the model. That all that merchandise they just didn't release. They didn't produce, and the ones that they did, like the ones that ended up in the Diamond catalog for comic shops, it was of the old design, and he still got those because he's like, there's like no merch, and he bought up what he could, but it was too far along the line already where they couldn't switch over to the new design right away.
True, and then with everything, and then when the world shut down, they weren't going to make any more.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
This next one, they'll make some merchandise because I expect some Sonic Tails merchandise stuff going on, and then after Sonic Mania making Sega all the money, this a little bit more Sonic Tails and Knuckles stuff isn't going to kill him.
I'm really happy that they're putting Knuckles in here, and that is my favorite Sonic character. So the design looks great, but I can't on print. I have the opposite effect. A lot of fans went, oh, they listened to us and they're changing the filmmaker's original vision to fit what we expect Sonic to look like. And my thing was, no, why don't we honor the filmmaker's original vision? And when they forced the filmmaker to change it and the rest of the CG crew, I'm like, well, fuck this. Restore the original Sonic movie. Like, that's what I want to see.
My whole thing was, I knew the thing looked, it's like, it's not the design I wanted, but it's not, but at the end of the day, I don't make the movie decisions.
Exactly.
There are plenty of movie decisions that I don't like. We'll get to that later. There's what design was it in the movie that I really, really couldn't stand? Oh, right. In what's this movie? What was that movie? In the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
The Andrew Garfield ones?
Andrew Garfield ones, yeah. I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't like the biggest fan of what they did with how the suit looked like at first.
Oh, with the yellow goggles?
Yeah, with the yellow goggles and everything. It's like it grew on me because it's like I've been paying attention to the Tobey Maguire stuff for so long. Tobey Maguire Sam Raimi movies for so long that it's like I guess, but then like even the Sam Raimi movie one, it's like that little metal film on top of it that has like grooves in it. It's like that was weird to me. Even the PS4 game where he has the little like shoe, where he has like the little sneaker bottoms on the bottom of his feet. I didn't like that either. It's like as soon as I got another costume, I just use that. I just used another costume instead of using the original one because the original was dumb and had all these extra white things on it. But that's a matter of opinion though. And
right.
But like the Sonic fan base, as a person who's been part of it, there's no way to please them. They're one of those you can't. They're one of those fan bases where they want something, where they complain about one thing and then they don't want something else. I wasn't part of the people who were complaining about all the multiple different play styles in Sonic games. I just wanted them to be fun. There was nothing fun about Big the Cat fishing. The Tails shooting stuff was okay at first, but after a while it got annoying in Sonic Adventure 2. And Sonic Heroes, it's like it was all the same gameplay, but people didn't like all the characters talking and whatnot. And they had like these characters only do a certain thing. These characters something. Yeah, it's called variety. Everybody. Technically, Sonic games have been doing that forever. Sonic and Tails can't all do the same thing. Tails couldn't do the little Sonic 3 invisible shield spin thing. Sonic couldn't climb up walls, and Knuckles couldn't freaking fly. He glided, but he couldn't just fly up and fly upwards. People, it's just like you can ask for variety, but we want variety. We want too much variety. It's like, yeah, that's because I want to play a Sonic game. I want to go fast. I want to go forward. I get it's like that's the point. That's the only thing I want. Like, if they make another Sonic movie after this, they should put one of my favorite characters in it, which is Blaze the Cat, because that's one of the few Sonic characters the few female Sonic characters who isn't obsessed with Sonic, tiny girl who's supposed to be cute, or sexy vampire or sexy freaking bat character. She's an actual character who does something, and she's like another dimension princess with her own different emeralds and all this stuff. And they should I wish they'd do more with that, but of course they don't because it's not Sonic.
I think Sonic the Hedgehog suffers from a similar problem that Star Wars does, where a vast generation of fans have grown with the Sonic games. So you've got a fan base, a generation which you and I think grew up in that same era, that enjoyed the 2D games, enjoyed the adventure series, and now you have a lot of kids that are really into Sonic, which is great because that's awesome for the future of the Hedgehog, but they grew up on a whole different set of video games. So the fan base is fractured in a few different places where, one set of gamers wants, as you mentioned, I just want to go forward, I want to go fast. And others did like the ones like the latest one where you can create your own character and you have these different types of levels and weapons that you can use. And I think that's one of the issues there.
Yeah, I like that game. The game that I wasn't too big on, the last Sonic game that I wasn't too big on, that wasn't Sonic Boom, because that was a mitigated disaster on its own different set of not Sonic. It wasn't like Sonic fan reasoning. It was just that game flopped. That game was bad in its own right. I don't care about the whole scarf bandana, all that the character design thing. I'm like, character design thing is fine. It's whatever. They can do it. It wasn't, and then it wasn't something permanent. So congratulations, everybody, all the whiner babies, you got what you wanted. It's like I don't really care if it's permanent or not, as long as the games are good.
Right.
Because Sonic's fucking had random design choices. I never really, I used to hate the Sonic Adventure look when he had like spikes, and then like that one old '90s comic book look where he had spikes down to his feet.
I remember
It's
that.
like it was ugly and stupid, and it's like, yeah, I still read the shits, but it was still ugly. Sonic, and so like with this new change in Sonic's like whatever. It's like all the old fans are gonna bitch and complain, but then when the game actually sucks, it doesn't help.
Well, let me know how the Sonic 2 movie ends up being. Again, I can't see it out of principle of this thing, unless maybe it's the old filmmakers have already moved on, and then maybe I can jump in and watch this one, especially since Knuckles is in it. I know Treasure Hunting Sonic will be sharing his merch on our Discord, all the stuff that he ends up picking up. I'm sure I'll be ordering some stuff for him. So I'm looking forward to all of that merch that eventually makes its way to comic shops and Targets and Walmarts and everywhere else. But something yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but I'm still waiting for my Jim Carrey Dr. Robotnik Funko Pop. Or
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they haven't come out with. Is he supposed to be in the sequel? Do we know yet?
If he's not, I'd be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be surprised because because what's the point? Why would you get rid of Dr. Eggman? Because if you get rid, it's like what? Who else besides Eggman Robotnik is gonna be the villain in a Sonic story, unless they go, because the only other villains were Shadow wasn't a villain. It was a giant Robotnik's grandpa, random evil alien.
Yeah, what about the guy from Sonic Colors, the big red demon looking guy?
The son from Sonic Colors, the big red demon guy. No, that was Robotnik. It was Robotnik again. It's like there's another dimension Robotnik, but that's once again a Blaze thing.
Mm-hmm.
There's the guy from Sonic Boom, which was just a lizard in a robot suit. I don't know. But
there's definitely a demon guy, because I read the comics recently. Sonic Bad Guys.
Sonic. Oh, right, the one from Sonic Lost World.
Okay, there you go.
I don't remember that game very much because I played it and then it was a Wii U game, so it was a one and done thing.
Mm-hmm.
Zavok. There we go. That's his name. Zavok. He was part of the Sinister Six or something. It was like 6 different demon looking characters who pretty much wanted to rule whatever little cube world thing that they went to up in the clouds or something.
We could easily IMDb if Jim Carrey's in there, but we just won't. We just keep guessing like more villains.
I don't want to spoil myself in it.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna wait for a trailer to come out and I'll find out what's happening with that movie.
That's right.
Because a lot of people IMDb who's been cast for this movie, because if this person's in it, I don't want any part of it.
We heard before about a year back that Batman the Animated Series was returning in not only HBO Max TV show form, which they still won't confirm, but it's coming. And we have since gotten a comic run that introduced Jason Todd into that world. We're about to get the Court of Owls now, joining the Batman Animated Series lore in season 2 of the Timverse that comes out in a couple of weeks. But they're expanding even more with now Justice League Unlimited is coming back as well for another season, also in comic book form on July 7th. It is titled Justice League Infinity. The new series will feature DC characters not seen in the animated series. Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, did you grow up on those?
Yes, I did. I watched the Batman animated series, the Superman animated series, and then when the Justice League series came out, when the Justice League from the same style came out, I was watching it, and then Justice League Unlimited, I have 3 or 4 episodes on my computer right now. One of the episodes is when Mordred and Morgan Le Fay's son Mordred got rid of all the adults and they had to become children.
That's a good one.
The episode where the two final episodes where Lex Luthor found out that Brainiac's in him, and then they tried to take over the world and shit.
That's the one where Superman can let loose, and that's also the one where Batman is able to dodge Darkseid's Omega beams, and all of these anti-Batman fans were pissed off, like, "Oh, come on!" And people were like, "Oh, Batman. Of course, yeah, it's Batman. He fucking dodged that shit."
Batman, everybody. It's cool, and then I just loved freaking Justice League and Justice League Unlimited to pieces. I watched it all the time, and then because of that show, it's like I actually started paying attention to more DC things and all these other animated DC stuff. And then I got into Teen Titans and then after years of of barely any cartoons outside of a couple hit Batman things here or there, I got into the the 3D animated Green Lantern show, which no one gives that show credit. It was
It's
actually pretty
amazing.
good for a Green Lantern show because I've never had any interest in the Green Lantern. Then I watched that show and I was like, oh my god, Green Lantern's actually pretty interesting. And it's not like, and it's freaking Hal Jordan for God's sake.
Hmm.
It's like everybody gives Hal Jordan shit. It's like no, he's not a dick. It's just that some people have to write him as a dick so they can get him to not have an actual character, I guess. It's like no, him being when he's the main focus, he's not. It's a lot better for him sometimes.
I love that cartoon too because they used Bruce Timm to design the characters, so it pretty much also fit. Except it was in 3D, of course, but it fit in that same mold of the Timverse. The big blocky chests and the more old school look design on their faces, and it translated beautifully onto the 3D animated world. When everyone was campaigning for bring back Young Justice, I was on the camp with a smaller group, unfortunately, of Green Lantern Season 2, give us that. And they ended up doing more Young Justice, I think 3 or 4 more seasons. But I was like, man, I got one episode of Sinestro, and voiced by Ron Perlman, I believe, who also voiced Slade in Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go. And he never became a Yellow Lantern, and we never got to see Aya return really be with Zuko or it's Space Zuko. That's what the show creators called them, Space Zuko. So he never got to find Aya and become that Blue Lantern. And like it's just sad because I don't know. I was a huge fan of it too, man.
But like Justice League Unlimited, it still has my favorite Wonder Woman in it. It's still my favorite version of Wonder Woman is in that show. It introduced me to all these other Justice League characters. I think actually, wait, no, I am missing another episode. It's the episode where one general goes all Hulk for some reason. I don't know why. And then he goes after the Justice League during this parade for them, and then like all these other, and then like Stargirl and this I forget this guy's name. I forget the guy's name. It's like this Iron Man like dude, who's essentially just a cowboy. What's his name?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, but that episode, it's like I like that episode because it's like
Not Jonah Hex, right?
No, not Jonah Hex. It was another guy. It was literally. It's just it's just a guy. It's just a guy who's a cowboy who drives a motorcycle. There's nothing. It's like literally. It's just he essentially. I think it's just another one of those people who pretty much are like, Batman does Batman vigilante justice type things, and essentially is part of the Justice League because it's a big thing, and there's a big they were such a big organization in Unlimited that they had like A squads, B squads. It's like certain people who are dealing with this. It's like, and then at the time, it's like Superman's at another planet saving people from Darkseid or something, and it's like we have to keep watch of the planet whenever they're gone and stuff. And it was a good episode. I'm very mad at myself for forgetting names, but I'm bad with names when I haven't kept up with something in a while. Besides Stargirl, I really like Stargirl.
Well, that's one of the things that was amazing about Justice League Unlimited is that it introduced so many of these lesser known DC characters to kids, which was, I think, I don't think you can do that in today's market, especially since the toy market is it's not as big as it used to be. They would probably mandate all the time, like, make sure you use Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Make sure you have them in every single episode. They wouldn't be able to take a risk of, why don't we use Stargirl in this? Why don't we have a Booster Gold episode, which they did.
They had a whole entire Booster. I did not know who the hell Booster Gold was as a kid. I'm like, who's Booster Gold? and then I asked my DC friend at school. He's like, oh yeah, Booster Gold. He's a character. It's like that episode was pretty much an amalgamation of his character. It's like, really? That's who Booster Gold is? And then even like in my other favorite DC show, which is Batman the Brave and the Bold, it introduced me to other characters I'd never existed. That was the first time I heard about Blue Beetle anything.
Yeah, and they ended up using the Mexican Blue Beetle, didn't they? Or did they go with both?
They went with both. They had Mexican Blue Beetle, and then they also had the original Blue Beetle in a cut scene.
So the original one's the one you enjoy more,
Not
right?
a cutscene, a flashback.
Gotcha.
Yeah, the one that I've never heard of the original. I've never heard of the original Blue Beetle until I did research on the Blue Beetle, and then I found out that him and Booster Gold were buddies
Hmm.
for a while. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That I guess I don't know. I'm not questioning it, but it was it was pretty entertaining though to do research on, and then the new blue, and then finding out about the new Blue Beetle, and then getting more information about that, and Young Justice was nice, and it's like all. But that's the that's the thing. Like when Cartoon Network really did the DC shows, it really opened my eyes to all these other DC characters that weren't the basic Justice League. Because I never heard of Martian Manhunter before Justice League came out, and then I love Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
I love him now. It's like John's awesome.
It also solidified
I've heard of Hawk. I've only heard of Hawk Girl as Hawkman, and that was from the Hanna-Barbera cartoon Clash of the
Okay.
Super Friends or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say that it also solidified John Stewart Green Lantern as the Green Lantern for generations of people, because when you see Hal Jordan, when they first announced that Green Lantern movie starring Ryan Reynolds, a lot of people were like, that's not Green Lantern. It's Green Lantern's a black guy.
Green
And that
Lantern's
was
a
a
black
lot
guy.
of, right. For a lot of people, they didn't know of Hal Jordan or Guy Gardner or Sinestro that was a Green Lantern at one point. To them, it's John Stewart. And I think that's why Zach in the Snyder Cut ended up going with John Stewart as opposed to Hal Jordan, even though they cut him out of the film. But he's like, he knows that people our age, to us, if you don't read the comics, it's John Stewart.
Because I'll never forget the episode of Static Shock, another cartoon that obviously appealed to me. It's like, oh look, it's a black teen. Oh look, a show about a black teenager with superpowers dealing with not only just being a teenager, being a young black teenager. It's like, hi, hello, hi, hello. Oh no, he has to deal with a friend who has a racist father. I cannot mention how many people I've known that had racist parents, and literally would keep me at a distance until they realize, oh, he's harmless.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then like there was an episode of Static Shock where there was like we're seeing like that everyone in poverty isn't just some person who's like low run down. It's like some people have mental issues. They showed episode where the people have mental issues, and then also there was the episode where John showed up, and and then freaking and Static's like, I don't get a lot. I don't. There's not a lot of black mentor people that I can look up to, and pretty much you're one of them. And it's like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then even in Justice League Unlimited, you see Static again when they're like having to deal with that Spot guy and how him like fucking up with time and everything, and it was so good.
Old man Static.
Yeah, it's like literally Justice League and Justice League Unlimited opened up DC to the general audience.
Absolutely.
To people who didn't know it existed.
And I can't wait for Justice League Infinity when that releases. I'm going to sub to that. It's going to be, by the time this episode releases, it is in the program that comic shops use to subscribe people to comics. So if you're excited for Justice League Infinity, let your local comic shop know. I know it is releasing digital first, but I like my paper comics, so I will always recommend the paper release, which is again on July 7th. Something else that had a physical release that was incredibly massive, every shop underordered it, as part of the already sold out Batman Fortnite 0 Point #1, Harley Quinn's DC Rebirth costume, as designed by Amanda Conner, becomes unlocked when you buy that first issue. And that one is already available to DC Universe subscribers in North America. Omni had talked on his Discord and on your stream about how he had already redeemed the Harley Quinn suit because he is a DC Universe yearly subscriber. There are second and third prints coming for issue 1, and they will have that same code for Harley Quinn Rebirth. It is going to be a 6-issue miniseries, but holy shit, man. Aside from the Pokemon constant daily calls of, do you have any sealed TCG product? It was parents and it was kids coming in asking for this Batman Fortnite book, which it promotes the DC Universe service, which is a digital comics only service, and it promotes it in the book itself. So a lot of comic shops were like, fuck you, I'm not ordering this book, or I'm only ordering special orders because fuck you, you're promoting a competitive, be like an Amazon book coming out or something. So, and that's where, a lot of other store managers that I know went down that path of, I'm not going to order this. I had 2 pre-orders for issue number 1 when the FOC came, which is the final order cutoff date. And I said, I should probably get some though, because it's still a Batman title. I think I ended up ordering 14 when I had 2 pre-orders. And I'm like, I'm going a little nuts here, but 14 gone, right? Absolutely disappeared the day the day before it released. I had pre-ordered out of all of those. And they were all to Fortnite players. The eBayers were completely behind on this one. They came on Wednesday, Thursday, and it's like, nope, sorry. I can pre-order issue 5 and 6, but 1 through 4, I'm already completely pre-ordered out. And people now are like, well, you should have seen this coming. It's a Fortnite comic. And I'm like, I had 2 fucking pre-orders for this thing. And no one has asked for Fortnite shit in a year. Like, are kids still playing this thing?
Kids are still playing Fortnite. It's like I should have paid it. I wish I got to talk to you for this. I would have told you fucking get a ton of that stuff because these Fortnite kids are going nuts. I literally have grandparents all the time literally coming to my store. Do you have Steam cards? It's for Fortnite, isn't it? It's for your children in Fortnite, isn't it? How did you know? I just know. All these kids are so into Fortnite that at this point I feel like it's like I get worried for all these parents who are buying their kids like freaking all these Steam cards. Like, are they being scammed? Are these old people being scammed? It's like, no, I forget their kids are into Fortnite, and then a lot of them freaking suddenly have PCs and all this stuff, and they want to get. And then all these people, it's so funny when it comes to Fortnite stuff. The parents come into my store who buy a physical copy of Fortnite for their kids for PS4, Xbox, Switch, whatever, and then like they come back the next day. This doesn't have a game in it. I said, and then I just sigh a bit, open up the thing, and I flip it over. I'm like, ma'am, this is a code for the game. You put the game into the system, and then they can play it that way. And this is how they play it. It also unlocks all of these things, all the things in this. It unlocks all this stuff for them, and they're like, do you know how? And then freaking little 5-year-old Timmy's like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what this is. I just want to play Fortnite with my friends who apparently have older brothers and sisters who pretty much set this stuff up for them. So, Fortnite is just ridiculous. I still have kids buying there's still kids that come in Walmart buying toys, like toys for it sometimes. I have we had the collector people come in and buy like whatever new series of Fortnite things came out and then the scalpers came in after them to get that stuff. And then once the beginning of the run comes out, they stop buying it all entirely. Like I still have kids buying the Nerf gun Fortnite stuff. Fortnite's way bigger. It's gotten so big to this point. Like even during my stream the other night, I feel like, am I being negative about Fortnite because I didn't enjoy my experience, or it's because I know that I'm dealing with 5-year-old little Timmy and all of his friends and how they literally had to buy all this Fortnite shit and they drive me insane. And being negative it's like, I know I'm not being negative just because it's popular. No, I've outgrown that part of myself that I'm not gonna throw something under the bus because it's popular. No. I'm gonna throw it under the bus because I still have I'm pretty much like I'm like 30 something years old. How can I enjoy this game that enjoyed by 5-year-olds and then I kind of slap myself in the face mentally because it's like, wait a minute, I enjoy Pokemon. Hi. Hello. You can't have no room to talk. Freaking, I have Pokemon shit everywhere, and suddenly I can say I can't play a 5-year-old game because, like, wait, no, that's why I complain when Pokemon doesn't grow because they have to market to the children.
Right. Exactly. Exactly right. I was going to say, I don't know where all of these Fortnite buyers are or were because the Christmas before pre-COVID, I had a ton of Fortnite Funko Pops. I had the little Pocket Pops. And I could not move that shit. And the reason we ordered so many is because that year, 2019, people kept asking for Fortnite stuff. And when they finally released the Fortnite Funkos, we ordered heavy on them. We couldn't get rid of them throughout Christmas. We had to 50% them out, and they slowly went away along with the Overwatch stuff. Yeah, and that's when I'm like, fuck, all right, people are done with this shit. I'm never ordering any more Fortnite shit. Except for, I guess, this one I ordered 12 extras.
Yeah, because it's essentially an exclusive skin, and you know how everybody loves exclusive skins. Yeah, it's like I found out apparently there's this armored Batman one too. There's an armored Batman one that came out, and it looks pretty neat. But it's like you have to have. But it says literally you have to buy physical printed copies of all 6 issues of Batman Fortnite Zero Point comics and redeem all the codes. Mm-hmm. If you don't redeem all the codes, you don't get the costume.
Yeah,
So of course
exactly.
that's why everybody's asking about this, because I'm like, I have to get every single issue I can, or I'm never gonna get this Batman costume. And it's only exclusive, and it only comes out and it's only for this time. And once those issues are gone and sold, they're not gonna make more issues with this code in it. No, it's gonna be exclusive.
Hmm.
And the whole thing about what you said about people not buying the Funko stuff is because everybody was coming into Walmart and buying these things,
Oh, well, now
because
I know.
these parents don't know where these parents are like, if it's it don't think about some parents don't think about, I can buy this somewhere else. You don't have to buy it at the big box Walmart. I literally told people, I would literally tell customers that come to my store, it's like, we were looking for this collectible item, this collectible item, this collectible item. It's like, ma'am, I'm sorry, we don't sell this. We don't carry it here. I help them look. It's like, we don't have it. So I suggest, go to this comic book store down here, or this collectible store over here, because they're gonna most likely have it more than I will, because as soon as it's bought, the scalpers come to us first.
Hmm. Exactly right.
Because we're Walmart, we're not going to stop them most of the time.
No.
Because most of the people, because if it was me running the department, I would, when I'm running the department, I pretty much am like, you only buy one of those, because I know it's like, I already know what you're trying to do. You're not going to leave out of here with like half the shelf full of the shit, and then send your brother in here to buy the other half in an hour. And I'm not dumb,
Yeah.
because I know what the collector boom is. I grew up around the freaking speculator boom, asshole. I know how this goes. I'm not dumb. I literally lost out on a Spider-Man comic book. I wanted to keep up with the story, just because some asshole bought a bunch of them so he could resell them on baby eBay, back when they didn't have regulations and shit. It was a goddamn Wild West.
That's right.
So don't try me. Fucking, you get to have two of them. I'll bullshit a limit because I'm the manager. I can do what I want. And you're gonna bitch at me. I'm not gonna. One of the managers don't know shit. they're gonna believe me before they believe you.
I do have a quote here from Doug O'Laughlin from the comic shop Comic Cave. He said, quote, "People are freaking out on their LCSs, which is local comic shops. Keep in mind, this was slipped into the order at the last minute, and many shops don't do much digital crossover business. I opted out because nobody was asking for it. Thankful for my customers who are about reading. Either it's cool because of a code you can already buy on the DC website, or it's because an app said so, usually low print run, which doesn't necessarily mean a good product. Still, don't take it out on your comic shop if you didn't pre-order 3 weeks ago," end quote. And that's something I will iterate here. Issues 5 and 6 are still orderable through the local comic shops as of this episode releasing. So we're able to adjust our numbers, move our numbers up to match our pre-orders for 5 and 6. But don't wait until a week before 5 comes out and be like, oh, he did want 5. Because that's one thing I'm running into a lot, where the parents are going, oh, so you don't have 1 though? And I'm like, no, and I'm all pre-ordered out up until issue 5. Do you want 5 and 6? Because those are going to be cut off soon, and I'm sure I'll sell out of those. And they're like, no, I'll wait and see if I can find the others first. And I'm like, well, if you at all think you want 5, let me know as soon as you can, because I know what's going to happen is in a month when the number 5 is about to release, they're all going to come in looking for it, and none of them will have pre-ordered it. They all still come with a different skin. You don't have to have all 4 to unlock the skin in number 5.
Yeah, and then everybody's gonna, and then they're even doing, even after, and then once all the physical copies for these are done and sold out, they're not gonna open up the second thing they're trying to do is doing one for sign up for DC Infinite for a month, for literally for the 7.99 a month one, and literally then you can get like the Batman Fortnite cosmetics in that way, but but it's only available in the U.S. So people who aren't in the U.S. are gonna have a hard time getting that for the Fortnite, because there are Fortnite players outside of the U.S. Surprisingly, I don't know, but I don't know. I don't pay attention to this, but literally, it's just them adding more stuff to their It's just them adding more stuff to it. It's the information I'm getting this from isn't even from like the information I'm reading this from is from a Fortnite site, a literal Fortnite site I'm reading this off of. Literally, it's like getting it, you get this stuff for your locker, and then there's other, and all this stuff. It's like, it's crazy. It's what digital event is it? This is supposed to be how freaking people at GameStop feel when Pokemon shit comes out, when Pokemon events come out for like 24 hours. Because they've been doing that. Pokemon's been doing that recently, but they won't make a big deal about it. It's like every 24 hours they'll suddenly just, here you go, here's a code for 24 hours. If you don't use it, you don't use it, too bad, sucks to be you. I hope you can hack it. And we haven't found out how to hack into Switches yet. They did? I don't know. It's not widespread yet.
Well, one
But
thing I will say for DC Universe users is if you do have that yearly subscription in North America and you don't give a shit about Fortnite, do what my coworker did, flip it on eBay for $40, and that pays for half your year on DC Universe for that, and do that every single issue. Just sell all 6 codes and you'll actually probably get 2 to 3 years out of DC Universe by the time this is all said and done. Flip them on eBay.
And then once the DC when you sign up for DC Infinite, guess what? You will get another free code, because guess what? People are gonna think, oh, I can sign up for the trial one. No, they don't want you to set. You have to actually buy it to get the code. So you
That's
could literally, so people who already own it, you're gonna get the code. You could just resell that to all these 10 to freaking 40-year-olds who are playing Fortnite and didn't think about DC and want their exclusive skin, and it's like, there you go, freaking go at it, go again, because the scalpers can't outsell people who just have a comic book subscription base. It's like they can't fight against that for people who have literally. It's like you could literally get the code and just, hey, who has Fortnite? Who wants this? So just sell it.
That's right.
I could make like a quick $20-$30 off some kid because they don't know any better.
I should fucking do that. Why isn't everyone doing that? Sign up for DC, and if you're in North America, sign up for DC Infinite, get the fucking 6 codes, make money, and then you get a year of DC Infinite on top of it. It's actually a great deal.
It doesn't even explain what you get. It just says you get Batman Fortnite cosmetics. Does it say you get Does it say you get the skins? I don't know. It's vague. But that we won't know until after all the issues are sold, eh?
Gotcha. Okay, so could pay off, maybe not, but I think there's going to be enough Fortnite players that will want this stuff. Before we go into our Mortal Kombat 2021 spoiler review, we have this month's segment of What's New on HBO Max, the May 2021 highlights. I've got a list here of things that I know I grew up on and things that I enjoyed. And going down this list before we go back into it, we've got Anger Management, The Cable Guy, Dumb and Dumber, Mortal Kombat from 1995, Rush Hour 1 through 3, Tenet, Medea's Witness Protection, Willy Wonka and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, 300 Rise of an Empire, Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, Wonder Woman 1984, Adventure Time Distant Lands Together Again, which is an HBO Max original. Any of these stick out for you, Julian?
Okay, one, because it's the end of the month. If you haven't seen Godzilla versus Kong yet, you need to go out and get that, because apparently it's going to disappear at the end of the month. Do it now. Watch that movie. I've watched it twice already. We'll watch it a third time on Wednesday before stream.
Sounds like you really liked it.
Yeah, I did. I did, because it's like I love Godzilla things. I love King Kong. It's like put peanut butter and jelly. It's like I get a sandwich. Anyway, Anger Management. I remember watching that the first time, and it was hilarious. The
Jack
Cable
Nicholson,
Guy. I've seen Jack Nicholson, and then freaking, it's like they're just standing there yelling at each other. It's like at one point, it's hilarious. I watched The Cable Guy like once or twice. It's been a while since I've seen The Cable Guy.
Dude, it's my favorite Jim Carrey movie. I love that movie.
I'm still a big fan of The Mask because it came out around the time when I was like young and watching all those Tim Avery cartoons when they came on like Cartoon Network for a small amount of time at night, and I was like eating that shit up. So that movie spoke to me. But The Cable Guy it's been a minute since.
So that was originally written with Chris Farley in mind to star in that one, and it ended up changing to obviously Jim Carrey in the film. And what's interesting is my VHS copy of Cable Guy had all the trailers before the movie actually started, and one of them was for Beverly Hills Ninja, and it always played there, and I always thought it was funny, and I'm like, hey, it's Liu Kang from Mortal Kombat. And as a kid, I went and rented it, and I enjoyed it. That one's on Netflix or HBO Max. It's on one of those. I think it's Netflix. So I went back, and I'm watching Beverly Hills Ninja because of my VHS copy of The Cable Guy, and I'm like, you know what? Let me go back and rewatch this. So it's just kind of weird how those trailers do actually work even years later.
Oh yeah, it's just like the last time I had my VHS player, I was watching the Power Rangers Turbo movie, and then it reminded me of a movie it reminded me of the fact that Anastasia was a movie that existed.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh right, it's still in production when this movie comes out. I'm like, holy crap, Anastasia was a thing. It's like, wait a minute. Christopher Lloyd was in Anastasia. He was the main villain. What? Okay. I'm like, all right, let me go back. It's like, it doesn't sound like him, but I'm like, wait, Judge Doom isn't the normal Christopher Lloyd and freaking Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So it's like I keep forgetting he has range.
Mhm.
It's not just Back to the Future.
Right.
Now, Dumb and Dumber, oh god, I watched as a kid. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. And then when I watched
Really?
it as older, I'm like, okay, I get this movie's funny. This movie's hilarious. It's so stupid. Even
Even
though I like the sequel a little bit more because of my immaturity, how dumb I am. Because the sequel's fucking retarded. Bob Saget's in it, and there's this
right.
scene where Harry, was it? Wait, which one of the blonde ones? Is it Harry or
Harry.
Lloyd? Harry. Harry goes to this girl's house for dinner, and then he has like this, and then Lloyd gives him this chocolate bar. And then so they go into he goes into the so like he finds out it's melting. He goes to the bathroom trying to take care of it, and then literally he just gets chocolate everywhere. But so Bob Saget goes into the bathroom after he doesn't know that this is going on, and then Bob Saget flips out. He's like, "Oh my god, there's shit everywhere, shit on the walls. He shit on the floor. It's like he's just going off about shit. It's like, why is this funny?" I looked at it again recently. I'm like, okay, I get it. This is me in my at my most immature, just laughing about this. It's like me and my brother Steven quote that to no end every time it's brought up. I think I quote it with Scott too. Sometimes it's just it's the dumbest, most immature movie on the planet. I can't remember anything else in the rest of the movie except for the scene with Bob Saget in alone. But Dumb and Dumber was just, it was good. I remember seeing that in a trailer too. The first before I saw it, I think it was it in The Mask? Was it?
Probably.
I remember seeing it.
Those all came out in like 1 year.
Dumb and Dumber. Dumb and Dumber was in a trailer that I saw for a movie that I saw a lot. And literally, it's just like it was just. Oh my god, I love Dumb and Dumber, and then especially, hey, you want to hear the most annoying sound in the world? Every time I say that, I forget who I was talking. I think it was someone from one of my colleges. When I said that, he would just say, "No, no, no, no! Don't you dare! Don't you dare start making noise! just shut up right now." But it was such a good thing. And then I love the original Mortal Kombat to pieces.
Yeah, that's a better version of this fucking movie.
Stupid. It's cheesy and stupid, and I love it. It knows what it is, and it doesn't. Let's apologize for it.
Well, it was better acted. It had a fucking tournament in it. But we'll rant about the new one in a second. But yeah. Annihilation is on HBO Max now, but the original 1995 one, thankfully, is going to be on. And you can also watch Scorpion's Revenge. That's probably the best Mortal Kombat movie so far.
I was actually going to watch Scorpion's Revenge after we're done recording this.
Yeah.
So like, oh crap, should I watch that? I said, I don't know. It's not part of the podcast. I can save it for later. It's animated. Is it animated?
It is. Yeah. It's the first R-rated Mortal Kombat movie.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3. 1, I don't have a lot of memories about. Like, I have like a couple things about near the end of the movie, near the climax of the movie where they're like at the gala and stuff. I remember that. I remember scenes from that, and like the obvious one that's like, you don't touch a black man's radio.
Yeah.
That whole spiel and shit and whatnot. Number 2, I watched to death when because that was when my dad first brought home the DVD player, and we could and with most of the first DVDs we had, we went insane in our house by watching the same shit over and over and over again. And Rush Hour 2 was one of them. And I even love the blooper reel at the end where when they throw the chick out the window, he goes, "Damn, she ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3." And then I own all 3 movies actually, and then I remember Rush Hour 3. I own Rush Hour 3, which by itself, because the first 2 came with a thing, and then the third one was one I bought by itself because I actually saw that one in theaters and I loved it. Lee's brother was like cuckoo, but was crazy, freaking Oh my god, I forget the name of this actor who played the French guy who had all the family. I think he reminded me of somebody else, but I don't think it was the same person. But the French cab driver guy, he just gets into the whole. He like gets into all the crazy stuff. He's like, I'm gonna be your personal chauffeur for the rest of this, for your entire time in Paris. I'm gonna go with you guys because he's just hooked on the action and everything. It's like, dude, that's so funny.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch 3 because I saw it in theaters and I didn't like it. I hated it. I didn't want to see it again. And the reason I didn't enjoy it is because in the first 2 films, they are good cops. They're legitimately decent cops that, yeah, they're kind of a joke in the force, but they get the job done. And in the third one, they make them into idiots. They make them into imbeciles for no reason. And that's the one thing that I'm like, wait a minute, these aren't the same cops as the first 2. Like, what happened
Yeah,
here?
it's not the same as the first. I like the first 2 more than the third one. But in the third one, I think it's because the antagonist is so up there in like just how like they have like Lee's brother is so crazy and like so stern and everything that they pretty much like Chris Tucker in that they turned him into an idiot.
Right.
I think they turned him into an idiot just for like a couple scenes just because they were trying to counteract the drama, but I think they were trying too hard.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'll watch it again, but I really didn't like it.
When it comes to Tenet and Doctor Who stuff and whatever,
Have you seen it or not yet?
I haven't seen Tenet
Oh
yet.
man, it's good stuff. It's so fucking good. I recommend it. If you like his Nolan's like Inception and his other films, if you're just a Nolan fan, definitely watch Tenet.
Okay, and then there's Medea's Witness Protection, which
Fuck yeah.
I'm not gonna get into how I feel about Medea.
Tyler Perry finally won an Oscar.
It won an Oscar.
No, Tyler Perry won an Oscar. It wasn't for a Medea film. It should have been for any of the Medea films. I think, and I'm not being funny. Like, I legitimately I own all the Medea films on digital. There was like a collection that went up on Vudu. I bought them all. I love them. So I'm glad there's more Medea stuff.
You know what? I'm going to admit that this might be because of back when Tyler Perry was mostly plays and shit. I had a stigma against him that grew before the movies, before Medea got more out there and mainstream. It wasn't something relegated to BET stuff. So, because like in the beginning, he's calmed down, but in the beginning, Tyler Perry was a bit problematic.
Wow,
he was like pretty much the people who were in his plays were essentially like freaking treated like dogs, or like worked like dogs and stuff. He and then there was like there was this episode of Boondocks which over exaggerated it to the point where it became like a cult, where it wasn't too far off. The man was a little too into getting like his actors to be on point and do it like this and do it like that, and then me and Jock randomly go into rants about how they just how the plays especially plagued on negative. It pretty much like tried to be like, look how relatable this is, black people. It's like, yeah, the negative parts of African American culture, hooray. It's like, could we play on the positive parts? But the movies, after watching some of the movies again, they aren't as bad as the plays were. So I have to at least alleviate some of my negative stigmas against it because of it. Especially as long as it's like I have to remind myself that the Medea character is not part of these negative stigmas. Medea character is supposed to be there to lighten through that stuff. And then so when it's a Medea centered movie, I have to accept the fact that this is a different kind of movie.
And there's always a positive message in all of the Medea films. There's always like growth that happens with the characters, and I love it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm trying to broaden myself to not stick with the first negative stigma that I constantly like to just keep that one negative stigma that I've had from his previous work that was problematic. It wasn't bad. No, it was it won the things it won for a reason. It gripped people for a reason. It hit me at my heartstrings for a reason, but I didn't like that reason.
I got you.
I think I'm glad that I can finally talk about this stably and not after being pushed and prodded about my negativity by someone either bolstering it or trying to push it down. Because usually when I talk about this, someone's either like jumping on me. It's like, why you gotta hate on Medea movies? And then it's like, full speed, I'm going at you. Why I don't like these things? Or someone like Jacques. It's like, oh yeah, it's just so bad. And it's like, oh, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I just love how confusing this is. So I had to explain this to somebody like
Yes.
10 years younger than me at work the other day. I said, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is more about Charlie than Willy Wonka. And Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is more about Willy Wonka. It talks more about Willy Wonka's past, and that's the Tim Burton looking one.
Right. Well, he directed it, yeah.
And then the other one with Gene Wilder, that one is more focused on Charlie. We start with Charlie first. It's like, do we know anything about Willy Wonka besides that he's a crazy person? No, that's it. That's all we need to know, because we don't need to know anything about Willy Wonka's past, because he's a nut. He's literally just he's a plot device. Mm-hmm. He's there to show, hey, guess what? Bad children are bad, and hey, these children are ridiculously bad, and I know it, and unfortunately, all these greedy children are won my competition, so I have to knock them down a peg. And then there's this one kid I don't know shit about because he got lucky,
right?
and then it's like, oh no, Hey, and then it's like, his grandpa goes like, hey, we just saw some kids almost fucking die. Let's go do something wrong ourselves. It's like, no, dummy.
He's the fucking worst in the movie. Lazy ass Uncle Joe. He's bedridden up until, oh shit, we won? All right, well, I've been fine all these years. And then in the fucking factory, let's take some of this fizzy lifting drink and touch the ceilings and act like nothing happened. He's kind of a piece of shit. And then at the end, he has the balls to yell at Willy Wonka, calling him a crook. Like, fuck you, Uncle Joe.
Yeah, it's like, Uncle freaking Grandpa Joe.
Grandpa Joe, that's what it was.
In Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it's like, suddenly it's like, I can walk now. It's like, dude, you all have been bedridden for a long ass time, and suddenly you can walk. At least they didn't bring up the fact that freaking in the Tim Burton movie, they didn't bring up the fact the other grandpa was bedridden. He was just old, and then suddenly he was just old and shit. And then suddenly he just springs to life. It's like, okay, because he's that happy. He used to work for Willy Wonka. He knows what the fuck's going on here. That shit's awesome. And they don't bring. And then the other grandpa's just like, oh yeah, I'm here. I'm Charlie's grandpa. I'm not going to be a negative influence on Charlie either. So, pretty much like he's just there to fill the quota of the story that the grandpa goes, because mom can't go and dad's either non-existent or busy, depending on which movie you're looking at.
Yeah.
And then there was one time when I was watching it where I don't remember this. I totally had forgotten this character existed in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, where Charlie's in front of like Willy Wonka's factory, and then suddenly this man selling knives comes up out of nowhere and starts talking about backstory about Willy Wonka. I'm like, who is this man? Why is he selling knives? Why is he in front of the chocolate factory selling knives and talking to some small boy? Why are you listening to him? Run! And it's like, why didn't you tell anybody about Slugworth the first time you saw him, Charlie? Mm-hmm. There's a strange man in a hat and glasses. He ambushed you in an alleyway. He has a trench coat on. That's stranger danger flasher if I've ever seen it.
That's right.
It's like, but no, just sit there and let him tell you the whole thing. And then I watched the Tom and Jerry version of it. It's kind of nuts in a way, because
is it decent?
It's decent. It's essentially Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie. It's essentially Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but Tom and Jerry get added in for Tom and Jerry shenanigans.
Nice.
And then so like during that scene, he's like literally, like Slugworth literally sees Tom and Jerry. It's like, you're gonna get in the way of stuff. And he's trying to get rid of them. And then there's like some psychedelic scene where he's like singing, where he's singing like the Violet Beauregard song, like "I Want the World" and all this stuff. It's like, what is going on? This movie's on some kind of drug, and I don't understand it. But I'm entertained.
Right.
And then they even had like the little gray mouse doing the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory speech, and he does it, and he pulls off the crazy a lot more. But I think it's because of the visuals of it. Literally, like, anybody who's listening to this, look up Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and then after that, look up the Wizard of Oz one, because that one's also just weird and different. Tom and Jerry like got into some shenanigans in some of these direct-to-video movies that they've had recently come out. It's pretty entertaining. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like, let's take something I like, Tom and Jerry, and then add it to this other movie that I like, and see how this meshes. How it meshes, and if it's weird or not. There's a couple contrived things, but it's like, you gotta accept it, because it's like, it's a children's cartoon.
Exactly. Yeah. Another one that I put on here is 300 Rise of an Empire. I almost rented it, and I'm glad I didn't because now it's on HBO Max. But it was not directed by Zack Snyder, but it was co-written by him. So I hear it's not as good as the first one, but I still want to see it just to get more of Xerxes and to see where his story kind of continues after that first film. And I also started watching Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1 at Scott's recommendation. And I'm kind of falling out of it, but I'm actually more entertained by JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is on Netflix. So kind of jumping between the two, but JoJo, I think, has caught me as far as anime now that I'm all caught up on Demon Slayer.
Well, because it's JoJo. It's either you. It's fucking. You don't explain JoJo to anybody because it's like it's JoJo's an experience. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is an experience. If you explain, like, I literally had someone, I think it was Scott, explain one of the plots of the JoJo things to me, and I said try, and it was like, I don't think I can explain this, like, try, and then he did. I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. It's like, you gotta watch it. So I watched it, and now I'm just sitting here. At this point, I watch JoJo, and I don't retain JoJo because I feel like retaining JoJo is damaging to one's health. Because how ridiculous it can be.
Yeah.
It's so, especially when it gets to Stardust Crusaders, it's like, what is going on here?
Well, I'm not quite there yet, but we shall see how I get through it. Wonder Woman 1984, a lot of people kind of complained when it got out. It was part of that theatrical first and digital dual release. So now that it's coming back on HBO Max, I suggest skipping it, though, and just seeing Wonder Woman instead in Zack Snyder's Justice League, because I think that's a better portrayal of the character. And the last one is Distant Lands. The Adventure Time, these specials, I don't know if you've seen them, but they are fucking good. They are well made. They're about an hour long each, and they expand on the characters. They time jump a little bit. I think they're all more or less further along in the seasons, and they focus on certain characters in the series.
Yeah, because I heard some. I had one of the insert random. I can't remember which animation YouTuber. Insert one of them here talking about it because when it and they were just telling me they were and then I had someone else tell me about how like it's Adventure Time's grown up much more than before and how different it is because like I remember the beginning of Adventure Time I was there freaking like haha XD emoticon I'm pretty much that whole I was part of that and then as it went on it's like it got more mature. And then there was that one episode that I will still debate to Jacques to this day about how wrong that is. How it's like it's not with the whole lumpy space princess and Finn and it's like fucking and essentially they had sex and it's like some metaphor they had sex or something. It's like no, and not, Jacques, I will argue that no Jacques it's a metaphor and no Jacques like no they literally did it. I'm like no Jacques it's a goddamn metaphor. He didn't do anything with lumpy space princess. And it's like no Jacques to this day is like yes he did. It's like and then we will. It's like and they leave it ambiguous because it's still on a children's network during children's primetime programming. So they're not gonna. So it's like they're gonna put a metaphor in there for the adults, but they're not gonna actually insinuate that shit. And Jacques like, no, Adventure Time's more grown up. They're gonna They're gonna just flat out.
They're just gonna
you
have sex.
He fucked us. He fucked a space clown, and it's like, no, he didn't fuck a space clown. It was a metaphor. He didn't fuck that. He didn't fuck her. Most likely they kissed or something, and he didn't like it. Of anything because they're not gonna fucking I don't want, and I told him I don't want to get into the idea of thinking a purple space cloud is DTF. Okay, let's drop it before I get angrier at him.
Yeah, seriously.
So because it's like goddamn him and goddamn anime fan, unfiltered anime fanboys. But awesome. I will now that I have HBO Max and I'm finally actually using it. I've had it for a month. I bought it at the beginning of the month, and I didn't start using it till halfway through, except for watching it for King Kong.
There's some great stuff on there, man. Like I got to dive more into the Turner Classic Movie stuff, but like I'm just peeling like the first layer as much as I use it. Well, most of the time it's to just rewatch the Snyder Cut, but there's incredible offerings on that service and their user base has grown more than they projected. Like they're hitting numbers that they didn't project until next year. So it's doing really well so far. And we do these highlights once a month. So if you're new to the show, we do HBO Max and we do Netflix as well. So we'll probably do Netflix next week. So there you have it. The what's new on HBO Max. This is now moving forward going to be the 2021 Mortal Kombat review, which was also a dual release with HBO Max and theaters. If you have not seen the movie, it is going to be spoiler filled. If you don't care about spoilers, join us for this review.
I am Sub-Zero. Mortal Kombat in theaters and on HBO Max the exact same day. Rated R.
First off, box office results. Mortal Kombat made $22.5 million. It was the top of the box office this past week, followed by Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train, which hit $19.5 million. And then in third place was Godzilla vs. Kong at $4.2 million. It is the second Mortal Kombat movie to receive an R rating. The first, as I mentioned earlier, is the animated Scorpion's Revenge. Darren Shalavi was expected to reprise his role, just a little bit of trivia here, as Kano from the Mortal Kombat Legacy YouTube series, which was amazing. It came out in 2011, but he died before production began. The previous actor to play Kano in the 1995 film, his name is Trevor Goddard, died as well, and he died in 2003. So there's like a Kano curse that started to form here.
Oh no, it's the Kano Heart Xehanort thing all over again. Anyway, so one, I actually saw Demon Slayer on Sunday. Mm-hmm. The Sunday before the 25th of April. So, and I saw it with my brother Steven and his roommate. I love that movie. That movie was good. It is one of the best. It is literally the continuation of Demon. It's even plot wise. It says it's a continuation of Demon Slayer. Mm-hmm. It literally, let's just say near the end of the movie, I'm sitting between my brother Steven and his roommate. I look to his roommate. He's like just shaking his head, sitting there, wiping his eyes. Steven's falling. Steven's gone. He's crying like hardcore. He's crying his heart. He is crying just completely. I don't want to spoil it because we're not talking about spoilers for that. We're talking about spoilers for Mortal Kombat. But literally, if you have the chance to see that in theaters, go see Demon Slayer. If you have any interest in Demon Slayer at all, you deserve to see this movie. Anyway, let's move on because Mortal Kombat. You do not deserve how much money you made. Freaking Mugen Train deserves more of your money. Anybody who went and saw this in theaters, I am so sorry. Let's start from the beginning. The first 10 minutes where I don't know what the fuck's going on until they get to the point where they start naming characters.
Yeah, if you had seen that's the weird thing, because if you watched Mortal Kombat Legacy, then this is all kind of like a theatrical remake of one of the episodes, except not done as well story-wise. Like obviously the effects are better, but I think the choreography might have been a little bit stronger in Legacy, and I kind of wished we had just gotten those two Legacy episodes in movie form. You can tell a story of Sub-Zero and Scorpion just by themselves. We got a little teaser of that. And they're like, here's this incredible character that is really interesting. Here's the origin of Scorpion. We're not going to see him till the end. How's he return? Who the fuck knows? And I'm like, what are you guys doing? That's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in this story. And why would you guys then pivot?
It's like the execution was so weird. So, like, in the beginning, it's like, okay, Japanese family. It's like, okay, I'm assuming this is Scorpion because we keep turning back to this freaking kunai. It's like, okay, it's a scorpion, but it's a scorpion thing. And then, but do they explain why in the world Sub-Zero is so interested in killing him?
No.
At all? Never. Not once in this movie do they explain why Sub-Zero wants wants freaking Hanzo dead.
He only says for the Lin Kuei.
Like, why? What's going on here? Also,
exactly.
Is Scorpion the main character and not fighting for Outworld in this movie? Because that's weird. I'm like, but that's my first initial. Literally, I'm sitting here commenting on the movie while I'm watching it, and then my roommate comes out and he's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "Watching Mortal Kombat." He's like, "Okay, pause it for a second. I'll be right back." He comes out and watches it with me. Literally, you can tell that I'm not invested in a movie 100% if I'm talking through it. Even if it is in my own home. I rarely do it when I'm at a theater, but literally last time I did that was with watched the movie Soul with him, and we're sitting there commenting on the movie the entire time because we were entertained by it very much. That's not a good sign.
Mhm.
I know when it's like if I'm not, because during Mugen Train, I'm zipped closed except for moments where I'm like, yeah, I was zip shut. But this movie comments the entire time. I might as well have been riffing it. I wish I recorded it. I really do. I really wish I recorded our riffing of the movie, but it would have been interjected with random sounds of me playing Animal Crossing in the first 20 minutes because I was not invested in this movie. So Sub-Zero kills the family. Boo-hoo, tears. Okay, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, that sucks. You did it. You fought. It was a cool fight. The fight with the minions. The blood effects could have been a little better because they were it's like they globbed out a little so much that you could tell that's like, oh, this is CG After Effects.
Right.
I know they're not going to do like real blood globs. This isn't fucking RoboCop.
Well, they were trying to overdo it.
They were trying to overdo it, though. It's like, we're going to do the same blood in the games, but like, if you're going to do that much, you're going to have to put some realistic blood effects in there, guys. You have to, because later on in the movie, the blood effects didn't look fake, except for when a chick gets cut in half. But that was expected. That was expected. So like, the death happens. He obviously gets sent to hell. I'm like, okay, this is where it's going to be. He's gonna randomly pop up back in the movie, fucking kill Sub-Zero, he's gonna end up trying to kill the fucking ancestors of this Sub-Zero or something because he killed him, and then we find out that he was an asshole, and then or something. But I'm like, no, it's not gonna get complicated.
No,
no, we cut to an octagon.
Yeah,
and we cut to like a violent, and I'm thinking, oh, this is one of those violent octagons, like those underground ones where people could die. No, it's not. It's just some random fighting octagon off the beaten path. It's like freaking like an offbeat. It's like backyard wrestling that's recorded on public television.
And it's got the studio. That's where we introduced the studio mandated original character of Cole Young.
Cole Young, do not steal. OC, do not steal. Mortal Kombat OC, do not steal. Ed Boon. Do not steal except for Ed Boon if you want to put him in the next game. Hint, hint, wink, wink.
Well, and even Ed Boon didn't want, and he didn't tweet about this movie at all until like 2 days after it released. Probably Warner Brothers coming down on his ass like, hey, support this shit. And he clearly wanted no part of the movie since he hadn't been supporting it up to this point.
So I said, okay, so when I saw this Cole Young character, I'm like, okay, so that means, and since he keeps having flashbacks of Scorpion type stuff, it's like, okay, so he's just going to start, so pretty much by the end of the movie, this man's going to channel Scorpion. He's going to become a Scorpion. He's going to be doing all the cool, doing cool ninja shit. He's going to, it's like fucking get possessed. He's like, it's going to be like some kind of like possession like thing where it's like, I now have the powers of Scorpion, blah, 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 blah. It's like, but we'll get back to that. So it's like, oh, we introduced his family and these children. It's like, introduced his family and his wife and his kid. And it's like, oh, they're going to die horribly, aren't they? Oh, pass, Julian, you fool. So, then we get to, and then, and then it's like, obvious black man, Jax is watching the fight and watching them. It's like, okay, this is obviously Jax. Okay, so when are he going to lose his arms? How fast are we going to lose these arms? Not too soon enough, I guess. He did lose them. Sub-Zero fucking freezes them off, and conveniently, as the movie says, it somehow ice cauterized the wound. Ice doesn't cauterize people. It may stop bleeding, but it's still going to be infected because ice doesn't work that way.
Ice can be so cold that it burns you, but I don't think it has that effect that you were talking about.
Cauterize a wound shut.
No. Well, and that's the other thing is Sub-Zero doesn't die from this, so he doesn't kill Jax. He really didn't kill Hanzo at the very beginning.
Hanzo died from blood loss.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wow, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, you're really doing a good job of murdering these people. You threw a guy, he hit his head onto like some open metal scaffolding, and he still doesn't die.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. And then, fucking Cole finally finds Sonya. It's like, oh cool, Sonya's in this movie. It's like she's a badass soldier. That's awesome. Oh, she's not one of the chosen people. Well,
and she's a conspiracy theorist. Yeah,
she's just a conspiracy theorist who who's friends with the Chosen. I'm friends with the Chosen person, and then there's Kano there. It's like I'm like, what? It's
More
like,
like,
oh, he's an asshole. This is cool. This is good. At least it sticks to Kano being Kano.
yeah,
A
were
plus.
you still attracted to this Kano? I know the trailer
No,
really did it
no,
for you.
the in-game version, the recent in-game version, and the first movie one are still more attractive. Sorry, sorry. This guy's kind of I don't like this one at all. He stop. No offense to the actor. I think he'd be good. I think he might be cute, but he's like not. He doesn't do it enough for me. Sorry, buddy. So and then after Expedition's done, Reptile shows up, and I said, "Oh my god, please don't be an actual lizard! Please don't be an actual lizard! Please don't be an actual lizard! Fuck, it's an actual lizard! No,
Well, that's one of the
no."
game versions now, isn't it? He's kind of evolved from being a
Yeah, he's
ninja
evolved
to.
from being like ninja with being a Sub-Zero Scorpion fucking color palette swap to more of a lizard. That's like, okay, I know it's more relevant to the games, but like they didn't even put him in an outfit. They just made him a lizard. It's just a lizard.
Yeah, and
That's
that
it.
was the.
He doesn't even have like a loin. He didn't have a loincloth. Fucking like bandages. Nothing that gives off some kind of like humanoid factor. It's like he's not even like a scaly furry like dude. He's like no. He's a literal. It's just a giant lizard that fucking spits acid.
He should have been able to kill all of these. Sonya, Kano, and Cole should have all been dead. He was invisible. He had these giant claws, and somehow has trouble with all of these. The whole time, I'm like, you have fucking claws. How are they? And I'm seeing the actors. Obviously, they're maybe swinging at someone that's in a green screen suit or something, but they're clearly like pretending, and they're CGIing the lizard in there. And also, I wish there was at least one portion of it that had like a suit, like even a close up of a suit, so that it looked a little more realistic. But
no,
I don't know.
Naked lizard.
Yeah.
So, and then my roommate commented this. He's like, Sonya Blade, she's supposed to be really good with knives and shit. She's really bad at knives in this movie. she every time she throws a knife, she misses or it just gets deflected. It's like, bitch, stop. At one point in the movie, I'm just like, bitch, stop throwing knives. It's not working. Mm-hmm. It's just not working. Stop throwing knives and just hold on to them because you throwing them out of your hands, you're just gonna keep missing. She like literally missed. She threw a knife, missed Kano. It's like, oh, she didn't miss. Like, bitch, she missed. She just doesn't care the fact that she missed and hit him in the leg.
Right.
So like they kill him, which I do like that the fact that they stabbed the flare into his head, and that way they could see him constantly, and that was a good touch because he wasn't gonna. But then like the fact that he didn't even try to take it out, he didn't try to stop being invisible and actually fight them head on, because like that's what happened in like one of the other movies. It's like he stopped trying to be all sneaky and just fought them head on and shit. And he like fought Liu Kang head on or whatever in one of the movies, or was it like I forget who he fought in the first movie.
Yeah, it was Liu Kang.
Yeah, he fought Liu Kang head on and shit. But then no, he just died. He just dies unceremoniously, and then we see Kano spit on a gnome after being offered money. Okay, so then we move on to out in the middle of I don't even know where in the fuck we are.
Well, they were supposed to be going to Raiden's hideout or the temple. They cut out a scene there where they were supposed to be fighting a bunch of people in midair after they jump out of the plane. A bunch of fighting scenes were cut out of the film. And that's one of the things that unfortunately this suffered that 2-hour mandate of Warner Butchers, of where they cut out all of these fighting scenes and all of these things that, just like in Godzilla vs. Kong, probably would have made the film a lot better.
Yeah, it would have been, because this movie, it's like it didn't lack in fighting scenes, but I'm like, some of these fight scenes go a little too fast or end a little too quickly. Well, because it's Mortal Kombat. It's like I expect there to be some back and forth. It's like there's moments where it's like what movie, what point? Like I remember during the Octagon scenes, I was wincing for some reason, but I think it's because it wasn't like Mortal Kombat character like things. It was just two dudes brutally beating each other for no reason. Mm-hmm. It's like that wasn't interesting. It's like, but this shows that he can actually take a hit and whatnot. Like whatever, whatever. He's still pretty before the movie ends. He's still pretty at the beginning of the movie. He's pretty at the end of the movie. It's like freaking member of Beat, one of those Korean freaking pop stars or something. And it's like because that's what it was, just some random pop star looking dude playing a. It's like it's just one of those pretty boy kung fu background people who can who could be pretty but also can still do their own stunts somewhat or whatever. I don't know. Well, I don't know. I have no idea who the actor was. I've never seen
Right.
him before. I've never seen any of these actors before, except for maybe I vaguely remember the dude who played Kung Lao.
Yeah,
He
looks
looks familiar to me, but I don't know what he's from.
And then Shang Tsung, he's Lao from the Dark Knight film, where he's like, I'm good with calculation.
Oh, that's okay. So I know he's from something else though, but I can't remember what it is. But so we get they see Liu Kang out in the middle of nowhere. He throws a fireball. It's like, okay, finally a character who actually can do something. More recognizable characters.
Kung Lao and Liu Kang are being shipped now online, by the way, and I got the same vibe when I watched that. Like, we're cousins, and it's like,
oh no, damn you, Yowie fans, damn you to hell. Why would it's like if you're gonna ship someone, at least try harder. Harder.
What do you mean try harder? It was right there, like the way we were supposed to die together.
We're supposed to die together. It's like, oh fucking Liu Kang. Oh god, Liu Kang. Can we get the 90s Liu Kang in here?
Yeah, seriously.
Can we get someone with some stones in here? And then so like when we get to the temple and freaking everybody keeps bashing on Sonya, it's like, this is unnecessary.
Yeah.
That's unnecessary. I can't wait till she gets her symbol and shows them all off and then gets her after she gets her symbol, she gets her cool fight moment.
Arcana. She unlocks her Arcana some off screen, probably in a cutscene.
Yeah, that's how we pick the Chosen. It's not just people who were good at fighting, and Raiden just picked them out of random to fight in the tournament because he could see greater potential in them. You know, the thing that the cheesy 90s movie did. And it's like, Ed Boon, I know you did. I know you wanted to take more it's like, I know that you were worried about having people jumping let you have creativity, because in the 90s movies you went a little too far with your with your creative bounds and let Annihilation become the monstrosity that it was, because you were too busy paying attention to the girls fighting in the mud scene that they literally made to keep you occupied for 5 minutes.
I'd have to look up how involved Ed Boon was, because he seems to really be championing that 95 movie a lot. Like, he's really proud of that one, but I'm curious to see how involved he really was with that sequel. But in this one, we just to kind of move the plot along here, Raiden ends up locking or protecting the temple with his god powers. They convince Kano to destroy the little piece that is causing that shield, and that's when they end up killing Liu Kang's boyfriend Kung Lao. And
after he cuts the Bat Lady from one of the recent games in half, which is pretty dope. I'm like, oh, that's dope. He's gonna die, isn't he?
Right. They had their moment, and essentially what Shang Tsung is trying to do, at least what I gathered, is he's trying to make the tournament not happen by killing these Earth Realm people, which I guess would automatically give him the win for the 10th, year or whatever cycle in a row, which would make Earth a part of Outworld, or that's kind of what I was gathering. But that's when Cole comes up with the idea of, let's force the tournament to happen by each pairing off and going against the Sub-Zero and Melina and everyone else. And that's when the rest of the movies kind of rush near the end of, okay, here's the other fights. Cole finally unlocks his Arcana by fighting against Goro of all people. Yeah.
He sent Goro after him instead of he sent Goro after him? Really? Instead of taking him to the temple and fighting the people in the temple who actually no. He should have sent. I thought Melina was gonna go after kill him, not freaking Goro. That's just overkill. But no, Goro turns out to be a bitch. Apparently, could die like a bitch. Apparently,
he looks like Endgame Hulk and he acts like Endgame Hulk. So, at least from what I've seen.
And the whole thing about that, it's like Sonya beating Kano. I was happy about that one. That was actually I actually like that, where it's like she's lived in that house all her entire life, and she's a soldier. Of course, she's like a guerrilla soldier. Of course, she freaking had like secret passageways in her house and all this other shit. And she would at first use that to her advantage to wear him down, and then to actually try to fight him one-on-one, because she knew if she fought him one-on-one, he was gonna just try and pull his eye laser out in her face.
It kind of had to happen, right? Sonya and Kano, we expect that fight. We know that even from the games, they're they're enemies. So she had to be the one to take him out, and she gains not his arcana, but she gains the symbol, and she's now one of them, and that's all you gotta do.
Still a little mad. It's like I get the whole like gnome the whole gnome Chekhov gun rep. It's like, wait a minute, they're near the ground. They're outside on the ground. Oh, she's gonna stab him in the eye with the gnome. Haha, Chekhov's gun. I know movies.
Yeah.
But like I was still hoping that after she stubbed the gnome in him, he would have still been fine, and he would have tried to get up and keep trying to fight her. And then she would have just flipped him down, fucking grabbed him she would have just like got on his head, fucking got on top of his head, pulled him down, snapped his neck, fucking like Sonya does. That's one of her main fatalities and attacks is literally snapping people's necks in half with her thighs.
I thought it was the kiss or whatever, where she blows it and they blow up.
That's another one. That's another one. But she doesn't have mystical powers yet. We'll wait for We'll wait for the sequel that they want to make because they were begging for it.
Right. And they're able to kill off Melina. Cabal, who is a bad guy in this. I think he's a good guy in the games. But in this one, he's fighting against Liu Kang.
It depends on which. Because Mortal Kombat right now has gone through 3 different renewals.
Mm-hmm.
So it depends on which version of Cabal we're talking about.
And towards the end here, we get Sub-Zero trying to recreate what happened to Hanzo years ago, but he doesn't kill his family for whatever fucking reason. I didn't understand that part of it.
It's like, oh, they're alive. We're just really cold and unconscious and slowly losing life instead of just killing them outright.
They're fucking frozen solid. They're as frozen as Hanzo's family was back then. They're just frozen up against a cage.
I thought when he brought the bracelet, it's like, oh, he killed them. They're dead.
Right, they're dead.
No, they're alive. Yay. We'll die in the sequel, I guess. Oh, I guess we'll die in the sequel.
That's just like, I get that they wanted to, like, okay, his bloodline continues or whatever, but it just made no sense that why would Sub-Zero keep them alive at all? Like, really, why would he?
Seriously. And then, like, the fact that, I guess because I haven't played any of the recent games. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Sub-Zero's been evil recently. But, like, usually in all things, like, Sub-Zero, isn't usually Sub-Zero an Earthrealm fighter? Why have Sub-Zero and Scorpion switch places? Well, usually Scorpion doesn't align with anybody. Usually, some of the games, Scorpion's like, fuck everybody. I'm just going to cause chaos because I'm Scorpion and I'm awesome.
Well, that's what this current story is what we're seeing in the movie, where Bihan did essentially like it happened here, killed him and murdered his family, and the villain that looks like Kratos from God of War, I forgot his name. Quan Chi, he ended up transforming into, at least in the Legacy version, transforming into Sub-Zero and tricking Scorpion into thinking that the current Sub-Zero, which ended up being the original Sub-Zero's brother, Bihan's brother, was the one who also murdered his family. So that's why Scorpion's going after the current Sub-Zero, who is a good guy. It's his brother Bihan that was evil. He gets killed. He turns into Noob Saibot when he gets resurrected. And with the current Sub-Zero is the brother who is good, who has no beef with Scorpion, and they eventually, come to mend things between the two characters. But we're not that far along in that story.
I thought something like that was going to happen, but no, that's not what happened. It's like Sub-Zero is the bad one now. It's like, let's give all the people who like Scorpion and their youth a reason to like him now. It's like, we can't just like him because he's badass and awesome. Really? Mm-hmm. We have to have a justified reason to root for Scorpion this time. And then after all that, freaking Connor didn't even become Scorpion. He didn't become Scorpion. No, he just somehow managed to summon him back from hell.
Right. Yeah,
you were a glorified plot device. That's all you were.
And people were like, well, he did it with the dagger. It's like, yeah, the dagger, that's what I'm saying. The dagger was just that plot device of how does he summon him? How does he bring back his bloodline with that? Other than Raiden saying, I thought you weren't going to interfere. And he just smiles like, oh, so you made that that dagger a summon thing for Scorpion to come back? Like, even Kelly she jumped in at the very end and she's like, how's Scorpion back? I'm like, who gives a shit? It's a shitty movie.
I know why it is. It's because they had to, because it's like, we can't just have this guy suddenly just become a ninja badass. That doesn't make sense. Like, no, it would make sense because like just like how he fucking got his arcana and his stupid powers. The fact that that the rage from the bloodline finally boiling and him actually, and then I thought if the family dies, yeah, it sucks, but that's gonna finally tap into the bloodline, and he's gonna be able to pull off suddenly look like Scorpion, pull off all these Scorpion things, fucking, and then Sub-Zero's gonna be like, oh no, it's the spirit of Hanzo, fucking,
Right.
fucking back to kill me, and then he finally killed, and then it'd be, and then like fucking, I don't know, for the fatality part, then suddenly the actual spirit of Hanzo coming out and fucking burning his face off,
Yeah.
and then disappearing, and the dagger fucking finally fading out into existence, or at least like getting embedded into the dude's hand or something. I don't know. I expect there was so much more. I could have written this movie a lot better and still could have had most of the outcomes.
Well, that's the problem, is they needed Cole to be an original character, and if he turns into Scorpion, according to their mandate, that's not an original character. So that's unfortunate, because it almost feels like that's the exact direction they were going in, that he was going to be a resurrection of modern day Scorpion with the spirit of Hanzo. That would have been way better.
If it wasn't for the fact that literally Ed Boon has to keep freaking peace with WB, I would say that in whatever game they make next, they just have a character who looks like, have a character comes in who looks like Connor and just gets stabbed and cut in half by a Scorpion or something.
His stupid fucking powers. I got this T-shirt, because you can see it's fabric, like even though it's supposed to be armor or whatever.
I got this metal armor T-shirt that looks like it's gonna pull off some Black Panther looking shit and like reverb some of this energy I get hit back at me. No, it's just the flames of hell that protect me from my bloodline, or maybe, I don't know. And then my roommate didn't even know what the weapons he used. I'm like, oh, that's a Tompa. It's like, what's the other one? Oh, that's another Tompa, which just has a blade on it. It's just a Tompa with a blade on it. That's all. It's like, wait, can't you spin Tompas? I'm like, yes, you can. Why is he still cutting him like that? I don't know. It's not very good. Not very good. And then it would have made more sense if we'd actually seen him use something like Tompas in one point in the movie. It's like, why can he suddenly use Tompa?
Right.
Tompa are elbow weapons. He has never fought with his elbows. He usually punches with his fists. They're elbow blades. If he actually used attacks that involved actually used the martial art that used his elbow, would be different. See, that's something that people actually forget about Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat actually used people who actually did have some people that actually knew how to do more martial art type stuff. Like most of the time, freaking Liu Kang is throwing fireballs more than he's actually doing kung fu. It's like, where's the bicycle kick? And then he does it in the end. It's like, yeah, there it is, fucking reference. And then he does the dragon special. Another reference. Hooray! Liu Kang's and then Sonya does the little like sonic wave thing that she does now. It's like, yay, we finally get references to this movie at the end of the movie.
Yeah, very rushed and in very tiny scenes.
It's like, and then the thing that makes me actually angry the most about this movie is Jack. It's like, at first he has these weak, frail metal arms that could make the Terminator, that make Terminator hands look, that make the like the Terminator hands look way better. It's like, and then suddenly when he's fighting, it's like his arms go from bullshit to fucking. It's like he's like trying to let this rock off Sonya, and suddenly it's like, okay, now my arms go from just basic metal things to these super high tech robot parts.
Right.
It's like, okay, no. By how this works, technically, his arms should have been like these hyper buff steampunk looking things from. That's what it should have been. He should have had like these hefty steampunk arms that fucking you can hear them like whir, and they're constantly moving or something, because that would have made more sense, especially like for a martial artist perspective of like channeling powers. But we've already established that the powers don't make sense, because now I can suddenly, because like I expected the whole thing with Kung Lao's hat, it's like, oh, he can just control the metal in the hat or something because it's part of it, because it's something that's dear to him or something. And then like Kano, it's like with the I-beam, it's like I tried to justify it in my head. It's like rage, okay, whatever, but like it wasn't. And then Jack, it just went out the window. It's like, okay, it's no longer something that's actually part of them. It's like he just can summon metal arms. Yay!
Right, yeah, and even Sonya's thing wasn't a part of hers either.
They're metal robot parts now. It's not because Sonya managed to find him and take him back to a fucking medical facility where they managed to give him robot arms.
Yeah, it's just none of like that whole thing with. And I don't even know if they could have explained it in any other way, but the fact that they wrote it into the plot of you unlock a power, I don't know what it is, and it's just I don't know.
We won't know what it is until it's important in the movie. for in
Right.
the movie, and then it's not gonna. And then unfortunately, like the other two people who are other people, it makes it's like fucking Jax made the least amount of sense. It's like I get that his was more that his came from like trying to work with these arms. It's like, but how? But the kind of arms they created and don't make any sense because that's not because even if it was like it's like I understand it's like I feel like they're trying to be different for the sake of making an adaptation to be different and it doesn't and some of the things don't ebb and flow. It's like I feel like I put more emphasis on some of these things in the entire movie than the actual movie did. Like I tried to justify this for that, and then
Mhm.
now that I'm talking about it again, I realize that no, it's just a bad movie that
Yeah.
needs the plot that literally rushed the plot around the end of the movie to get it to go along. I thought the movie was about to be long. I'm like, holy crap, this movie's gonna be longer than I thought it was. But no, but like you said, they apparently cut parts of the movie. So I guess I guess when they started cutting parts of the movie, they realized, okay, we're gonna have to wrap this shit up. Fucking get better arms so you can just crush the hammer guy and fucking. And instead of doing the thing that me and my roommate expected, which was you put them over the iconic Mortal Kombat pit of spikes.
Yeah.
Where do you think he's gonna throw? He's gonna fucking backhand his ass off with the metal arms? No, he crushes his head like the
Right.
fatality. It's like then we didn't need the fucking fighting stage for it. We could have gone without that. We could have fought anywhere else. We could have fought anywhere else, and it wouldn't have mattered because he still would have crushed his head anyway.
Mhm.
No, his body didn't even fall down in the spikes and get impaled.
Yeah, that was an easy one they could have done. And the biggest problem that I think Maceo or Spoon were pointing out in the Discord is that Cole is still the shitty MMA fighter. And he has an Arcana now, but what actually made him into a better fighter?
Nothing made him into a better fighter. How did he suddenly kick Goro's ass? I don't know, because maybe because it's like, it's great to have someone of this bloodline of the famous princely bloodline. I don't know, maybe it's inbreeding that's made him retarded or something. That actually makes him the worst of the entire race or something. Maybe we'll just bring the female in one for the next version, and maybe she'll actually do something, or bring in the Centaur Man or something. I don't fucking know because that was a waste of Goro.
It really was. And by the end of it, obviously they're able to win the tournament. They don't defeat, there's no fight with Shang Tsung. And it's instead, Earthrealm won this one. So sorry, you gotta, I don't know.
Wait for the tournament now. I'll bring back more fighters. I'm gonna bring back Baraka.
I'm gonna bring armies.
Bring back Baraka and fucking whoever I can, whatever fucking else, other random non-Earth fucking Outrealm fighters that we haven't brought up yet, and it's gonna be awesome. And it's like, oh, we're gonna bring up Johnny Cage. We're not gonna show his face because we haven't hired that actor. I mean.
There was a lot of speculation that Cole was going to be Johnny Cage because he's fighting in a cage match, and that's kind of how they were going to work that into it. But, it ended up being a descendant of Scorpion who has nothing of Scorpions at all. Nothing, other than summoning him.
Yay, fucking wonderful. I'm still waiting. It's like I'm still waiting for this movie to do something. It's like by the end of the movie, I'm like, I didn't want it to be over. I just wanted to see how bad they were gonna fuck it up.
Yeah,
and then I even zoomed through the. I'm like, I don't even know if there could be an extra credit scene. I zoomed to the end of it and saw like, oh, there's like still 20 seconds of this thing, and we're still in the credits. We're not gonna get an extra credit scene. I'm skipping. I'm skipping this because I feel like I'm like, is there more sequel begging? Nope, no more sequel begging. It's just the one scene at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a shame, man, because one of the things, just kind of to summarize how I feel about this movie, and it's one of those weird criticisms that I'm seeing online, and Haruko Hitomi, who's been on the show before, they said, they quoted one of their friends of like, what were you expecting out of Mortal Kombat, like Citizen Kane? And he's like, so you're saying I can't ask for a quality film or just a better movie because it's Mortal Kombat? Like, that's not an excuse at all. And in fact, this one is on par with Annihilation. Like, if you give me a choice between this Mortal Kombat and Annihilation, flip a fucking coin, man. They're both going to be fucking terrible for me to watch.
It's like, what do I want? Bad CGI dragon or useless character or movie that drags me along and doesn't bring in the cool character to the last 10 minutes?
Exactly. It's like, which one's shorter? I'll pick that one.
Which one's short? Unfortunately, I feel it's like, like you said, flip a coin. Which one am I at least in Annihilation, I am at least getting character references. Like Nightwolf is referenced in a book. is referenced in a book. Why are we referencing Nightwolf in a book? Because we're afraid. We're afraid of because Nightwolf is a controversial character. We can't bring it up because anything native, anybody who uses native things that's not native that brings up a native character, it's bad. It's bad. It's like it's not fucking T-Hawk, everybody. It's not T-Hawk from Street Fighter. T-Hawk from Street Fighter is a stereotype. Nightwolf, yeah, kinda, but it's not. But it's not as offensive. It's not as offensive. Also, he's some ancient old man. He's some ancient old man who's an ancient spirit man. Fucking, he's old as shit and somehow still kicking at a young age. Let it go.
Well,
Let it go.
I'm going to back up a little bit. Is T-Hawk a stereotype? Because I thought he was based in Mexico in that Street Fighter game. So what's he a stereotype of? Not
just
Aztecs.
Generic. Oh, just generic native character. Doesn't matter. He's like a buff Mati. He's essentially like a buff Mati. Just a generic,
right, but it's Mexican
native
based.
person here. And also, it's Street Fighter. It's also Street Fighter. And contrary to what people think, some people forget that Mortal Kombat's actually a creation of two American nerds.
Right.
Two American kung fu, two nerds who like kung fu movies.
Mm-hmm.
Where unlike Street Fighter, which was made by some Japanese dude and artist who freaking the Japanese aren't very subtle when it comes to depicting other countries, even their own.
Exactly.
So
right.
Mortal Kombat's gonna actually try and if they actually had Nightwolf in it, it was going to be less of the Mortal Kombat 2 one and something more relevant and recent and less stereotypical.
Well, as we kind of wrap up this review and the episode, I want to look at the future of what may be a sequel. Was there any character that wasn't in this movie that you'd want to see in a Mortal Kombat 2 if you were to for some reason decide to watch the sequel?
Well, after this whole thing, it's like there's going to be more Lin Kuei people. He's going to summon more Lin Kuei people, so they're obviously going to bring in Frost.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's true. Or Sub-Zero's brother. Yeah.
I was hoping that I've seen what's supposed to be the movie poster for this. I'm like, oh no, there's no generic looking white guy who's wearing shades. There's no Johnny Cage in this. So of course that's like they didn't speak of Johnny Cage at the end of the movie. I was gonna be disappointed. I would have been more disappointed than I am in this movie already.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to see Baraka because they kind of dropped the ball with Melina. I did making her this like cool, making her this like crazy, making her a black chick. It's like I don't care. Somebody actually said that's like, why is Melina a black chick? That's like, why do you care? why do you care? I don't think it really matters. I actually would love to see Shao Kahn actually do something. Shao Kahn, actually fight somebody and Raiden actually get into a fist fight. That'd be great.
Were you saying Shang Tsung maybe, or because we saw
Shang Tsung and then Shang Tsung. Oh my god, Shang Tsung, freaking!
He took a soul, and they all watched. No one threw a fireball at him.
No one threw a fireball at him. They just sat. It's like no, we're just gonna sit there and cry, be the squishy.
We're losers. They were all losers.
I'm gonna be the squishy boyfriend who doesn't do anything and just cries even though we were just both talking shit about Kano literally like 10 minutes ago in the movie.
Yep.
talking mad shit about him, but I forget what my roommate said. He wanted the one character from Mortal Kombat Deception to be in it. The main character who from the story mode who ends up being an actual character in the games. I forget his name. It was like Wu something.
Okay.
Another character who I would want would be the officer character, and would be the officer guy.
Oh yeah, from Mortal Kombat 3.
Yes, I would want to see him in. I want to see him in that.
He has the backwards cap.
He has the backwards cap, the gun. It's like he's like, I'm not a well-trained soldier. I'm just a really good cop.
What an odd pull. I wouldn't have guessed that one.
It'd be interesting instead of making Johnny Cage the butt of everybody's instead of trying to make Johnny Cage the butt of a joke.
Yeah, I think the one the most obvious one is not Ed Boon, but it pretty much is like Noob Saibot, because they take Sub-Zero's body. So if they resurrect him, then he's going to come back as Noob Saibot. So it kind of continues that story too. And the weird one would be a DC Universe character. Like they're already crossing over in the video games, and they're all owned by Warner Brothers. If they put in a crazy DC villain, that would really tear the fucking roof off of this thing. But I doubt they'd put a DC character unless it's a really lesser known one.
Let's put Jonah Hex in it.
Yeah, well, yeah, or the cowboy that you were talking about, the one that we can
Outlaw. I
remember
think
his
his name
name.
is Outlaw or something.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So, as Noob Saibot, I would like to see, as you mentioned, a Shang Tsung, maybe even a cameo of the original Shang Tsung from the 1995 film, like they did in the video game recently. If they can somehow work him into it, they did it in Mortal Kombat Legacy in that YouTube show for season 2. They made him Shang Tsung in that, which was really really neat. But as far as the sequel, I'm not going to be running to see it, because if it's anything, if it's the same creators as this, if it's still Warner Brothers having their hands all over this, they used to be this auteur studio, and now it's all about fitting it under a formula. It has to be under 2 hours. It has to have jokes. It has to be lighter, which was another problem I had with this one. Is it was way more comedic than I expected it to be, which is unfortunate. The characters were not relatable. They, as I mentioned earlier, they were losers. Like these were not Earthrealm fighters. These were not champions. These were like Raiden's like, I guess these guys, and then they all thankfully ended up working out okay. So
Yay, convenience.
very convenient, very lazy writing. I guess the fights could have, if we had more fighting, I could at least say, well, you know what, the choreography was great in this, and even
Yeah,
the
I could at least
Sub-Zero,
say I liked the fight. I liked it when they were fighting. I did like the fight scenes
for the most part, yeah.
for the most part. Even with even just with like Sona and Kano, it's like a base scrap of, it's just like some base. It's not like some high martial arts fantasy. It's like a base scrap, but it's like it makes sense. It's a soldier versus some crazy mercenary killer, man.
Exactly.
And then like with some of the, and then I wish that one fight with the Bat Lady could have been a little more. And it's like I don't even remember her name. She just died in a heartbeat.
Nitara or something, yeah. She's one, like you said, she's one of the newer
that's
characters.
another character. I want Princess Kitana in the next movie if they made another one. Where's Princess Kitana?
She's Melina's sister, right? They're related in some way?
Maybe, I think so. I'm not sure.
It was something along those lines.
Something along those lines. It's like the Princess of Outrealm.
So they'll probably show her. They showed her weapons in one of the scenes, so that might be a hint to them. And supposedly the screenwriter said that they wrote this as a trilogy, so obviously they set up the sequel with Johnny Cage, and they have another story in mind for parts 2 and parts 3.
That just makes part 2 a waste of time then, doesn't it? It's just like, I have to watch this.
Well, that's
that means
the thing.
I have to watch this now.
That's what they were saying on Discord, of like, this shouldn't have been a film that sets up the next one and without a tournament or anything. That's really what it kind of ended up being. Again, a very lazy project, and it's unfortunate. I don't know if we're going to see an extended edition. If they do end up releasing something with all of the extra scenes and fighting, great, because I want to see all of the hard work that went into it. I will probably check that out, but I'm not going to see this movie again. I'm going to rewatch the 1995 one, since that one's hitting HBO Max. I own it on Vudu, and we play it every now and again in the shop because one of my friends has it on his phone, and we stream it on the TV.
I own a physical copy of it.
And yeah, I've got a VHS version somewhere at my parents' house, probably in the attic. So there's better material, which is odd enough to say with Mortal Kombat, considering Mortal Kombat 1995 is like, you know, a whatever movie, but it's still a better film than this one. Scorpion's Revenge is also on HBO Max. I have nothing really nice to say about this one. That's kind of my overall thoughts on it.
See, I thought you weren't going to like it because it's because I've seen your what's it, Warner Brothers stances since Justice League came back, since the Snyder Cut came out. I've seen, I keep up with the usual Daniel discourse.
So you thought I was not going to like it, or I was going to like it?
Oh, I thought you already had a stigma against it because
gotcha.
It's a WB movie.
Well, and plus the other thing is Ed Boon was not boosting it at all, and I thought that was a huge red flag.
I didn't know Ed Boon wasn't boosting this movie. I thought pretty much Ed Boon's like, usually the Ed Boon that I usually know usually it's like, I'm gonna boost up whatever I make.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm a conceited asshole like that, and I want to make money.
Exactly,
I know Ed
right.
Boon Ed Boon's just wants to make money since freaking since Armageddon. Since Mortal Kombat Armageddon, it's like, I'm here to make money.
And he wasn't doing it for this movie, and that was he was instead tweeting about the Snyder Cut all week.
Oh no,
something he's not involved in. And he's
that bad. He's gonna make the Snyder. So Ed Boon's gonna make a Snyder Cut. Gonna make a Snyder Cut version. Snyder Cut. He's gonna make a new DC versus Mortal Kombat. It's gonna be with the Snyder Cut characters.
Well, most likely, I honestly do think his headbanner is Injustice, which I think he's working on the next Injustice game because the last one sold really well. Why wouldn't he? And I wouldn't be surprised if there were Snyder Cut characters in that video game as well. There should be. They already had Batfleck, I believe, in the last Injustice as one of the skins, which is really cool.
I think so. I haven't gotten all the Batman skins. I haven't gotten all the Batman skins yet. I was too busy in that game getting all the alternate character skins that, like getting Jon Stewart and the Huntress, and the Huntress for instead of Cheetah, and stuff like that. Because that was one of the best parts of freaking Injustice 2, just being able to. It's like, oh, I can completely just, and then turning Raiden into Black Lightning. I'm like, yes, give me more of this.
Really well
Raiden.
done.
I know we're like Raiden anyway.
Yeah, really well. Those games are just they're done with the best intentions in mind for the fans and for the gamers. So all success to Ed Boon on the video game side. Good. They tried with the movies again, and it's too bad, but
stick to YouTube. Ed, stick to YouTube,
watch
Ed.
Mortal Kombat Legacy. I absolutely watch. They're up there for free. Watch them there. There's a full playlist of Mortal Kombat Legacy.
Hell, everybody, go see if you can find the old HBO fucking live action series.
I they're going to talk about the cartoon.
They made back in the 90s. No, not the cartoon. The cartoon's terrible. It's literally most of the music is the Mortal Kombat dun, 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 and then literally that just repeat that part for every single piece of music, and that's the entire show. And they also cut out they cut out characters' boobs because it's children's syndication, and so Sonya Sonya just has it's a box, but you can't tell. And then like with the female girl, it's just like this huge dipping triangle, and there's nothing in the middle. It's so weird. It's like, what is that? What happened to your chest? What's going on here? And also all the characters are dumb. It's so bad. The only interesting thing is that Luke Perry plays Sub-Zero in that. And it's very telling, and it's also bad. If you want to watch something that's actually bad and hilarious, watch the cartoon. All right.
It's good to know.
Don't waste your money on. Don't waste your time on this movie. It's not good. It's not bad for the right reason.
Exactly right. Well, very well said, Julian. And I do appreciate you coming on and being a part of the co-host rotation. Again, I know we went a little bit longer than we normally do, but that normally kind of happens when review episodes pop up. But I'm really, really happy that I got to do this Mortal Kombat 2021 review with you, Julian. Where can the Brokehead Core find you?
You can find more of my long-winded rantings on the Lazy Gaming Guys at our YouTube channel. We stream every Wednesday, and we stream various games between me and myself, Scott, and sometimes Jacques on our channel. Sometimes I'm usually the one that's usually more consistent in streaming the same game over and over again. Scott and Jacques will stream to their whim's content, but Scott will stream more things usually. And then we also have our friend OmniJam, who also streams on his own but also co-hosts with us on twitch.tv/OmniJam. And he streams what he wants to his own heart's content, but lately it's Will Sleep and Monster Hunter.
Gotcha.
So, but you can find me on my personal Twitter at Kage0 KAGE023 on Twitter, and that's where you'll get all my unfiltered nonsense and mostly me sharing random pictures and Animal Crossing junk that I keep finding. And
there will be links to your YouTube channel and your Twitter on today's episode, just like last time. Was there another spot you were about to mention?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. I know you can definitely find him also on our Discord. There is a link to the Discord on the description of today's episode. You can also find us at thereasonsimbroke.com. There will be a link on everywhere you can find us: Twitter, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Instagram, all of those places. And I will ask if you can tell a friend about the podcast, if there's anyone that you know that may have also not enjoyed the Mortal Kombat movie, but might enjoy this review. Let them know about the Reasons I'm Broke podcast. Word of mouth is the most effective way to make a podcast grow, and that's a huge thing for us. So thank you so much for helping us out on that end and for joining us on this week's episode. Thank you again, and all will be well. When you watch the Demon Slayer movie, you mentioned that you're your brother and roommate were crying. Did you hear other weeb tears? Did you get the sniffles? Did you get the loud cries during the movie?
I did not. I don't know if I could hear any other weeb cries because they did social distance us, even though they had this, even with the seating, you had to buy tickets beforehand, so they did social distance us a little bit. But I did see some people hear a little bit of. I did see some people look down and then look back up and then move some subtle arm movements. So there were people. It's like I'm emotional, but I didn't cry.
Me neither.
I got
which was weird.
I don't. It's like I said, Steven, I'm like, I don't know, Steven. I don't think video games do it for me. It's like, what does? I don't think video. I don't. And I'm sorry, but I don't think anime makes me cry as much as you do. And I think it's like because I've shed a tear during a video game. Even there's literally a stream of me crying about Kingdom Hearts 3 when I finally beat the damn thing.
I remember.
And then also I never recorded this, but with Final Fantasy 14, I got to an emotional part during the recent expansion, and I just started bawling. Freaking! I wish I had recorded. Part of me wishes I had recorded myself doing that. I could have did it on stream, because it was just I went from barely keeping it together. I was cracking, and then suddenly one scene just pops up, and I'm just I just look away and I'm bawling into tears. And the person who I was on Discord with at the time, they're like, "Oh my god, why are you crying?" And I said, "It's you'll get to it. Just give me a moment, okay?" But the whole thing at the end of the Demon Slayer movie, that was oh my god. But even after the tears stopped, Steven's if this movie ended in that happy the way it ended with them finishing and in the happy note, he would have been pissed because that's not how Demon Slayer. That's not Demon Slayer. No,
right.
no. Demon Slayer wants us to make sure that even in the brightest happiness, that there's still something in the darkness ready to fucking ruin it. And it did its job, and I'm mad, and I'm sitting there just frustrated, God damn it. I guess that's why I'm not crying. I'm God damn it, Demon Slayer, give me a happy moment for 5 minutes. Let me at least be happy for these characters instead of seeing them constantly in pain and crying.
Right. Yeah, the one thing I was disappointed with too is I didn't see any grown adults playing tag or crawling around on the floor like I do at anime conventions, and that's something that Scott said. He's like, "We're at the movie theater, not at a convention." I'm like, "Yeah, but it's the same fucking people."
No,
where's the tag? Where's the hide and seek?
How dare you? That's the crazy convention stuff. And excuse me, playing tag at a convention is fun. I don't know what you're sometimes you
I said, same people.
Sometimes you just gotta be, you gotta let out the catharsis. You gotta let that out a little bit. I'm just, I wish I had done more goofy stuff like that at conventions instead of just keeping to myself and with everybody else.
Well, there's still time, Julian.
There's plenty of time to still do these things. It's gonna eventually happen. Give it another year. People will be trying to do conventions again most people won't, except I gotta bring my freaking vaccination card with me though, because I feel like that's gonna be a mandatory from now on.
Yeah, I think you're right, but hey, price to pay to play tag with other 30-year-olds.
God, when you say it like that,